Look out. Washington's corrupt leaders are at it again. Corruption through and through in our postal services. Unbelievable. And it's leading to getting the postal workers sick, to even getting them harmed, and some of them even got killed by their corrupted, dirty ways. And we'll get back to those in a minute. But let's talk about its origins and how it kind of got started. Way back, founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, done a lot of great things for our country. One of the founding fathers. Let's talk about the post office. He was the first general postmaster. He helped get organized messages through the 13 colonies. Died through horseback. Some of the very first rights even came from it. Like our right to freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and believe it or not, privacy. And even led to better inks and papers. Because when the horseback carried the messages back then, of course it was in snow, all weather, right? So sometimes the messages, when they got there, they were all soggy and wet and couldn't be read. So, and some of them were open. And the horseback rider got blamed for it. So a lot of things went on. Somebody been reading my mail. And if this was, military sending messages, or love letters to loved ones, the colony started fighting, and the horseback, hey, I just delivered the stuff. I didn't have nothing to do with it. They're banging around, the horses jumping around, and they got whatever they sealed it with, wax or whatever they had back then. It led to a lot of arguments. So the founding fathers had created a system. So some of our very first rights, right to privacy, so helped them develop better ink, better paper in the envelope eventually, and how they carried it and who carried it. They had to pick a very select responsible writers, ones that could be trusted. So a lot went into it. And then as it slowly evolved and became better and better, and then the rights, and then they moved it, and then as it grew and grew, and some of the very first mail carried on a plane. They created it where they used to pick up mail to speed up things. Well, when the fog came around, the little planes landed, they had to clear an airstrip, right? So that cost them money. And then if you tried to take off or land in the fog, that led to more problems. So the guy come up with these goalposts. They put a wire between it. And so they just hang the sack up there. The plane would come by, wouldn't have to land them more. They wouldn't have to make a runway. And they picked that mail up a lot quicker. And they did it with the railroads too. They hung a little post on the side. They hung the sack there, and that train would go by about 45, 50 miles an hour. Grab that mail sack, and off it go. But our mail system has came a long ways ever since then. We got about 625,000 postal workers across our nation, and growing every year. And every day, they ship over 4 million prescription drugs around our nation every day. And so far, they've shipped over probably almost 500 million COVID tests through the mail. They ship seeds, live animals. They go places that even UPS and other mail services won't believe that. But anyway, let's talk about some of the corruption. I was watching some of the hearings and some of the budgets and some of how they cut the money up and how they're supposed to be transitioned over because they're the post office. They're supposed to be leading by example, if anybody. So they're supposed to be running them electric mail carriers. The vehicles, okay? So there was this big contract, billions of dollars in it. It was supposed to go to electric. Well, lo and behold, China's got 75% of the market cornered, all right? But since there's no quality control in his batteries, and they've been burning up lately, and they're not dependable because, we need our mail, right? 6 days a week. We got to have our mail. And almost 50% of all people that voted was through the mail. So anyway, this big fight breaks out. Congress, all these crooked corruption on this side. One, how they're rooting for China, trying to get the battery electric one going. And the other side is rooting for the big corporations. You know who they are: Ford, Chevy, Dodge. All the big main brands to keep going gas and keep diesel. So they're all going at it. So in the meantime, they're left with their old junk, trying to keep going. So anyway, that leads to breakdowns. Okay. So by not upgrading the fleet and settling on, we need to make our own batteries and forget about China. But anyway, that's another story. So these mail carriers are sent out with these old, decrepit vehicles that are breaking down. And this one lady got mauled to death. Okay, walking back, a bunch of wild dogs got her. They bit her, and then she bled to death and got rabies, at the point, she died a few days later. It's terrible. And back in this March, right here in California, they had to work in 28-degree weather. There was no heating or cooling, not even an HVAC system inside it. The corrupted officials of Washington, they rented a building because, the demand for mail was more in an area. So instead of designing a plan or getting a good building to save money, probably one of their own buildings, they went out, bought this old junky warehouse and put our U.S. Postals to work in it and forced them to sort mail in it. Do you believe that? It's true. These people are corrupt. Corrupt how they do that, how they go out and they get these decrepit buildings. There should be laws in place. There wasn't even HVAC. It's terrible. And then that led them to get sick. Then once one got sick, they all got sick. Terrible. And then the mail got behind. And that led to people not getting their mail. And some seniors, they get their prescriptions in the mail. They got to have them every day. So things start to escalate out of control. You can see what happened. Okay, and that lady happened to be black. So that went ahead and increased race riots. All because of their corruption led to these vehicles breaking down and people got killed. I mean, they didn't plan to get broken down, but since they're all decrepit and they should have been replaced with a better vehicle, this led to accidental deaths. And this led in their actions of renting those corrupt buildings, crooked, decrepit buildings, led to these people getting sick. So their direct corruption is hurting and even getting people killed. That's terrible. And back to the battery and the gas vehicles. They were supposed to put out electric ones. Anyway, their batteries aren't lasting. So they got to fight with them. And we shouldn't be buying China's junk anyway. There's no quality control over there. We need to be making our own. They'll cost a little more, but they're going to last. And they're going to be dependable. And it's going to be American made. So anyway, we ended up going with the gas jobbers. So that's worse for our planet. So now there's just corruption through and through. Now they have billions of dollars worth of mail vehicles that are running on gas or diesel, polluting the air even more. So their corruption continues to hurt our environment, continues to hurt the postal workers, to accidental deaths, getting them sick. The corruption continues. It's shameful. They're allowed to do this to the postal workers. You think they would take better care of them. It's ridiculous how they go from job to job and every issue, it seems like they've got corruption in it. What's wrong with these people? How come they can't start doing things right? And can't they see their actions as leading to people getting killed and sick? Time to drain the swamp. Time to get the corruption out of Washington. Time to put new laws and procedures into place so these things don't continue to happen. It's a lame-o, same-o leadership. That's why we got to put term limits up there. You got people that's been up there forever. And then they end up getting business ties with China. That's why our independence has been sold out. Or they got direct ties with Ford or Chevy. All these other people, they don't give the other people a chance. They got everything sewed up. It's corruption. Term limits. Get in there 4, 5, 6 years. That's it. Get them out. Bring in the next set. Or we get young, beautiful, bright minds. Free up the corruption. Got to put an end to this. It's ridiculous. Time to drain the swamp. Until next time.